Alright, welcome to my very first video on my S-Ride Tactical. I created this page because I love shooting and I just like to, get involved more with the community. Also, leaving the army, I wanted to get into my, civilian shooting, and it was like a kind of a scary moment, working with, belt-fed weapons, assault rifles, and then going into a gun shop and not actually knowing what the hell is going on or what to ask for. And
hey, what the fuck did I just say?
10-round burst.
No,
It was kind of embarrassing because you tell them that you've been in the army for so long and then you actually don't know what the hell you're actually talking about when it comes to weapons. So that's why I made this channel, to help all you veterans out there, or even people that are still serving, get your head around how to buy a firearm in Australia. But my first video is going to be how to strip the MPR MINI from Wedgetail. So this is a pump action 223. It's essentially an assault rifle. It's not really an assault rifle, but it's got the same frame as an M4 or an AR platform. And it's just a pump with a nice stock, Magpul stock, and all the attachments that you can get with your AR, you can fit on this. So as you can see with my Wedgetail, I've got a straight grip at the front, vertical grip. I have a Zero-Tech red dot, which is amazing red dot and very affordable, and a Hollow Sun Magnifier, 3x magnifier. So I've zeroed this at 100 meters with the magnifier, and it shoots dead on. So yeah, my sight, magnifier. Then I've got a torch, OLED torch with a attachment for the button on top, which wraps around the upper receiver, which is really good, and you can take off, and it's a rechargeable battery. Or if you're out in the field environment, you can put, double A's in there, and then you keep putting in fresh double A's when that runs out. But the main part of this video is a strip and assemble, because when I bought this rifle, it was hard to find a strip and assemble for the Wedgetail 223 or 308. So this gets chambered in 308 as well. Another thing I love about this rifle is that it's Australian made, and so it's very good to get around the Australian made firearms and just companies in general. So let's go into the strip and assemble. We've got a takedown pin here and here. So the way you want to start disassembling this thing, or stripping this thing, is you're going to push this button through and this button through to release, so we can get the lower receiver off the upper receiver. So once again, you got to press these two parts in. If you want to field strip it, which I probably will do today, which is just going to be field strip, is you're going to push this button through. So it is quite hard to do with your hand. But if you want to, you can get a screwdriver and put a bit of cloth on it if you don't want to damage your metal. But I've lubed mine up a bit, and you just pop it through with your finger, and it's quite hard to get through with your hand. So once again, you can use your little screwdriver and be quite gentle so you don't pop out the metal. Pull that through, pull it all the way out, and you can see it comes off completely. But with these pins, these pull down pins, they're not going to come off out of the lower receiver, which is good. So then from here, we've separated the lower receiver and the upper receiver. Next step, what you want to do is you want to take out the bolt assembly. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take out the bolt group from the upper assembly. So how you do that is, if you're looking down the rifle here, so this is the butt, you've opened it up. Well, on the top here, you can see a little latch, and you can just push that up. And now that we've pushed this little bad boy up, what we're going to do is we're going to get the slide, or the pump, we're going to pull it towards the pistol grip, and it's going to push out your bolt group or bolt assembly. And then if you can see, right here, you can see a screw. Let's see if I get a better angle on that. Right there. See how that bad boy is going left to right? So we want to make that bad boy go up and down. Yeah, the devil. This is hard doing it. I don't know why I do it this way. So essentially you're rotating it anti-clockwise, and you hear click, click, and then that bad boy will slide all the way out. And this, if you want to zoom out, is your bolt group. And before we disassemble it, you make sure both your serial numbers are on the one side. It's a good way to know if you're putting your bolt in, right? So just make sure you know your serial numbers are on the same side, and then your serial numbers correspond, which is as lame as it could get for me to say that. If you're in the army, you get it, or the military. So we got our bolt group here. We got the bolt itself, the bolt assembly, and then we got this little pin here called the cam pin that slots into the bolt carry assembly. And then if you look on the side here, you can see a little pin sticking in. You have to take this pin out, which is called the firing pin retaining pin. Inside here is the firing pin. So let's get the firing pin out so we can get it nice and clean. So now we're going to get this retaining pin out. I think it's got 2 pins in it. The firing pin retaining pin is what we're going to take out. So I use a little screwdriver and I just get in there a little bit just to lever out. And now that we've got the firing pin retaining pin out, we take that out, put it to the side here, and the first thing we can do is take out the firing pin. As the firing pin retaining pin is out, the firing pin can come out. Now that the firing pin is out, we can remove our cam lug, put that down, and now that that's out, our bolt will just come out. Now that we've stripped our bolt assembly group, pretty much with that, you wipe all the carbon off it. You get, if you want to, a nice little wire brush, clean all the carbon off the front of your bolt group, and wipe down all the carbon out of it and lightly oil it, but make sure you don't oil the front of your bolt carrier. Lightly oil, and then put it all back together in reverse order, but we can do that later. So that's stripped. We'll chuck these little parts off to the side. Hopefully I don't knock them on the ground and the cats hit them. Head back to our main part of our rifle, so the upper receiver and the lower receiver. And now if you want to field clean it and field strip it, that's as much as I would go. I do pull through on the barrel. I'd make sure the pump slide is nice and oiled up, and I clear all the carbon out of the chamber. Make sure the dust cover is nice and functional. Make sure all the carbon's clean out of that. Now if you're cleaning your weapon and you accidentally pull the trigger, it's gonna pull your trigger forward and it's gonna lock you out. So no stress at all. If that happens, if you're like this, you accidentally pull the trigger, it's gonna lock up your weapon quite well. It's not that hard, like you probably could muster, but if you don't wanna muscle your weapon, all you need to do is get the second pin, which is right here in front of your magazine housing, push that through. Once again, you can use your trusty screwdriver, but ever so slightly to pull that pin out. And the same pin, it's the same pin as your rear pin, it's not gonna come out, you can pull it all the way out, and then it will just separate from each other. And then as you can see, you pull the trigger and the hammers come forward. So all you want to do is get that hammer back. It's probably not the best thing for your rifle. You pull it back. Now, if I wasn't in the army and didn't do that 1,000 times with my EF88 or my Steyr, I wouldn't know how to do that. So there's this little trick there. Some of you are freaking out. All right, cool. Then you've got your whole lower receiver ready to clean, magazine housing. You got your hammer, you got your trigger mechanism, and all that fun jazz. And that's probably the most I would do. I wouldn't strip the trigger mechanism any more than that. I'll just give it a good wipe down, get a fine little brush, get all the carbon out of there, make sure the springs are all nice. I wouldn't oil it too much to give it a light oil. I do like my weapons wet when I use them, but when they're sitting in the safe, I will wipe off as much oil as I can, as it's pretty standard practice. So we've got our upper receiver. Yeah. Same thing, you can take out these 2 hex keys, so your little hex bolts at the side there, and you can separate your upper receiver to the slide. But my rifle is all zeroed and I might lose my zero, so I'm not gonna do that. I probably wouldn't, actually, be quite honest with you, but I don't wanna separate this at all. So the way to clean this, once again, get inside your chamber, get in there, very clean, would have passed the inspection, and just get as much carbon as you can from the front of the chamber, wipe out as much as you can, get it nice and wet. So let's put this thing back, and also, sorry, oil the slide. So make sure you get your slide before you use it. Give it a nice slide. So when you see it moving, I always chuck oil. So in the base here, chuck oil there, or lubricant, whatever lubricant you use. Make sure it slides back and forth really well. And yeah, that's pretty much how I clean it. That's how you strip it. Let's do it in reverse order. So we're gonna put this upper receiver into the lower receiver. And all we're doing is putting that front 2 holes there into the front pin there. Make sure they line up. Make sure they line up perfectly. Let's reassemble the bolt group. So first thing we're gonna do is we're going to get our bolt, put it back in the housing assembly, make sure our serial numbers are right next to each other, as you can see. Fantastic. And then we're gonna chuck our cam lug or a cam pin into the bolt group, ensuring that all the holes are lining up facing forward. And by that I mean, because the firing pin is going to be coming through here, you want the holes of this cam lug or cam pin facing up and back, like that. And then you get your firing pin, slide it in the back, should go all the way through. And then once you put your firing pin through, obviously you can't get your cam pin out. And then you get your firing pin retaining pin, this little bad boy, and you put it through the hole in the rear where you got out of. And this is always a bit tricky. This is always a bit tricky, especially if your firing pin wants to move back. Make sure your firing pin is housed completely down so the retaining pin can do its job and retain it. Get it in. And if you want to know what the retaining pin really does, it's literally just it just sits across on the base of the firing pin. So it literally just sits across like that, but on top of the firing pin. So yeah, and then once that retaining pin's in, nothing's gonna come out. And let's put this back in the rifle. So now we got the upper receiver and our bolt group. So we line up the top here with the top of your bolt group. Fuck, I finally got it. Slides in. So to make sure that this bolt group is housed correctly, I get the pump, push it all the way forward, and then I push that in so it locks off. So then I know when I screw the bolt that it's in the correct position, and then I rotate that clockwise. And now you can see that that pin right there, well, where is it? Right there, was up straight, and now it's like this. Hand signals, fantastic. All right, and then you should, if I've done it correctly, pull the bolt forward with you. Awesome. Now that you've done that, you've put the bolt assembly group back into the main upper receiver. You can close this little flap if you want. I might leave it open to the time being. Close it. Pull that pin in the side here. Push that down. Should slide all the way in here. Click. Close your dust cover. Good drills. And then the last thing you want to do is close that little flap here. And then we do a final function test. So we give it a pump, put it on the safe, and then we aim in a safe direction out of the ground. Now this is going to be triggering for people that are in the army, and I apologize. I do the lame as catchwords of weapon should not fire, and then apply it to fire, and then I say weapon should fire, and then I pump it, and then I say audible click should be heard, and then I should, and I say weapon should fire, hearing a click, weapon does fire, and that's your final function test, so you know you've put it back together correctly. And with the Wedgetail, just like a machine gun, and close your dust cover, you can't put it to safe unless you have cocked the pump or you're in action. So I've just gone full army just then. But yes, that is the basic field strip of the Wedgetail MPR Mini chambered in 223. Like I said at the start of the video, I just recently got into civilian shooting. So it was a big shock to me to go in and be like, oh, how do I get for example, getting the QD sling swivel just on the back of my rifle, just the back of my butt, I had no idea what this was called, because you just called it a sling swivel, right? And it's already fitted on your weapon, but fitted onto your rifle. But yeah, it's a QD swivel, and even like a sling attachment for your rifle. Like all these things that in the military you kind of take for granted because it gets given to you. I'm here to help you navigate your times of civilian shooting. If you're in the army or out of army, please let me know if you have any questions about the MPR Mini or any other rifles you're thinking about getting. And if I don't know, I'll ask my very talented friends at Wedgetail or my good friend Woody Outdoors. Go check out his channel. He's an amazing shot, amazing photographer, and he has a lot of guns. He knows a lot of things. That's where I get most of my information from. So go check him out. Have a great day, stay deadly, and once again, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and I keep bumping the table, but have a good day.